Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm gonna be doing a sort of spin the wheel challenge thing. For 2025, if you can see this list, 2025, I picked out 25 books I wanted to read in 2025. Now, in order to complete this list by the end of the year, I needed to be reading at least 2 books from this every month. Yeah, and 1 month I would have to read 3. But as you can see, I've only read 3 books so far. It is May, and I've only read 3 books from this so far. That's not good. So I needed to prioritize picking stuff off of this list to read. So I decided to do a little spin the wheel video. So the choice can be taken out of my hands because I look at this list and I, for some reason, just put a lot of like either long books or books that I feel like are heavy hitters that will make me sad or that I'm already so invested in. It's hard to like just sit down and read it. So there are some books on here. There's some books on this list that I am very, very nervous to read. Like Anyone's Ghost. That one is LGBTQ and depressing. I already know it's depressing. I have the second book in the Aristotle and Dante duology, and I love the first book so much. It's like, if people ask me what's my favorite book of all time, it's Aristotle and Dante, Discover the Secrets of the Universe. And I decided that when I was in high school, and once I make that decision, it's kind of like the decision forever. So is it probably my favorite book of all time now? I don't know. There's some literary fiction that's probably up there, but it is still my like go-to answer. So I'm scared to read that one just because I'm so nervous for that, like the sequel. And then Welcome to the Hyunamdong Bookshop. I'm nervous for that one because I did start reading that, I think last month or this month, and I just put it down. It wasn't that the book was bad. It's just like, it wasn't holding me like I needed it to hold my attention, so I just put it down. But I was enjoying the book. I just don't think I was in the headspace for it, and I don't think I am now. I don't think I am now. Yeah, I am nervous. I am a little nervous. And then there's Icarus by Kate Ingram that I'm nervous for, but only because I want this. I kind of want to read this book is technically in a loose series or a loose themed series of books from Kate Ingram, and I think they're called like the Parables. That's what she's named this like series of books, and Icarus is like the 3rd book that came out chronologically, and so I would have to read the other 2 first, and I kind of already want to do that, but that would push this video back a little because I would have to read those 2 books and then Icarus. Ooh, that would be hard. That would be hard, and that would probably be the video. I don't know how many books I'm going to do for this. Let's start with 1, and let's see how it goes. So, I have to spin the wheel up and ready. Oh, Lord, help me. I just, maybe a romance. Maybe a romance. Let's shuffle it up. Let's shuffle it up a couple times. Okay, ready? Let's go. Okay, A Song for the Wild Built. So there's not really a problem with A Song with the Wild Built, but it's May 31st, and I'll be reading this book throughout June, and I have planned to read the Murder Diaries in June. I don't know if I'll get to all of them, but it's this many books, and these are all, you know, sci-fi. This one is like a full length, but oh my gosh, I must have had these in the sun. But I'm planning to read these already in June, and these are all sci-fi with a robot, and A Song for the Wild Built is another novella that's sci-fi with a robot. I don't want to like tire myself out, but the will has spoken, so we shall do what the will says. So the first book we'll be reading is A Song for the Wild Built. Let me get it, and I should be happy because I could have got long things, but this one is 147 pages, so this shouldn't take me too long to read unless I get distracted. But I'm gonna go ahead and get started reading this one, and let's get this video going. So it's been too many days, honestly, but I finally finished A Song for the Wild Built. It is, what is today? Today is June the 7th. I started this on the 1st. For some reason, this was like such a slow read for me. I was like reading maybe like 20 to 30 pages sometimes a day, and I just didn't understand. Look how small this book is. I was like, how is this taking me so long? But for some reason, it just like read slowly. Not that it was like a slow-paced book, but it just read slowly for some reason. But I did like what the book had to say, like the book's message about your purpose and about life itself. And there's this one part, let me see. There is a robot who, obviously, you know, a monk in a robot book, it says on the front. So the robot that the monk is talking to says, "You are an animal, sibling Tex. You are not separate or other. You're an animal, and animals have no purpose. Nothing has a purpose. The world simply is. If you want to do things that are meaningful to others, fine, good. So do I. But if I wanted to crawl into a cave and watch stalagmites with frost frog for the remainder of my days, that would also be fine and good. You keep asking why your work is not enough, and I don't know how to answer that, because it is enough to exist in the world and marvel at it. You don't need to justify that or earn it. You are allowed to just live. That is all most animals do." And I was like, oh, fire, bars. And so I really like I said, what the book had to say about life and your purpose and things like that. Besides that, there's this part in here that sort of made me get the title, or I felt a connection to the title, or an allusion to something else from the title, I guess. And so it's this part where the monk says, "Then how, Dixit, how does the idea of maybe being meaningless sit well with you?" And then the robot says, "Because I know that no matter what, I'm wonderful," it said. And I was just like, wow. Okay. And so once I read that line, that I'm wonderful, I was like, you know, this reminds me of Psalm 139:14 in the Bible. And there's this part where it's like, we're fearfully and wonderfully made in one of the translations. And I was like, oh, fearfully and wonderfully made. Oh, I'm wonderful. This is a Psalm for the Wild Built. And I sort of like made that connection from, you know, the Psalm in the Bible to a Psalm for the Wild Built. I was like, I got it. So that was really cool to have that like real moment of realization of like what the book is trying to say and what it's doing, and I really enjoyed that. And so at first I thought I was gonna land on a 3.5 just because I don't know why, but I just kept putting the book down. But by the time we got to the end and really start to get to the message of the book and the resolution of the book, I really enjoyed that last bit. So I'm going to give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. So let's go back to the wheel and pick our next book for this video. Here we go. I have the spin the wheel back up, and really depending on this book, this might be the last book of the video because I've mentioned this before on the channel, but I am a writer, and the book I'm working on, I just got my edits back from the editor and I have a deadline to get those edits back. So depending on this book, this definitely might be the last book of the video. It probably will be anyways, just because of how much I have to do in the next month. But I'm just hoping for like, I don't know, a YA, a short YA, or the poetry collection, please. I'm so scared. All right, let's spin the wheel. Here we go. And it's Toward Eternity. Toward Eternity. Okay. Another sci-fi. This is going to be a really sci-fi heavy month for me if I get to any of the books I want to read now that I have my edits back. But okay, let's where is Toward Eternity? Hold on. Okay, so here it is. It's beautiful. This is by Anton Hur, who is definitely my favorite translator. He's translated books by Bora Chung, who I love love, love, love so much. So I'm expecting for this to be good. I have like a little bookmark in here already. That's nice. I have a Shakespeare & Co. bookmark in here. Okay, I'm nervous, but it's relatively short. It's only, let's see, it's about 230 pages. 240 actually, almost 250. So we'll say 250-ish page, like 244, 245, something like that. I'm just hoping that, you know, this is really great, that I fly through it. I don't want to be reading it for a week again. Like 3 days, 4 days at most would be great. So let's go ahead and get started on Toward Eternity by Anton Hur. Okay, it's been some days. I don't even remember when I started this. I'm on 142, and the way that this book has just literally like gone from a river to an ocean in the amount of depth. Like, it started with just a man disappearing and reappearing, and now the the places we've gone in 140 pages is a lot. It's a lot. There, I also feel like this book is very unfortunately timely with just like the state of the world today, with the state of the world today, and just the way what this book is talking about and what is going on in this book. It's just it is encapsulating our times. It is encapsulating our times. Even though this book I think came out last year, like, it's encapsulating literally the present moment today. The present moment, and today is June 18th, 2025. This came out in 2024. What is that word I'm looking for? Prescient? Is that the word? It very predictive, and so it's crazy reading it. A lot of my marginalia is me just saying, this is unfortunately timely. This is all too relevant, but it's good so far. I've done a lot of underlining and stuff. Hopefully I'll finish it soon, because I have so much work to do in other arenas of my life right now, but I am enjoying this. I just finished reading Toward Eternity by Anton Hur. Well, it's been a couple days, but this was really good. There was a weird thing happening where I was interested in the story, but I also just like, when I put it down, I wasn't like desperate to pick it back up. You know, I would put it down and be like, I need to finish that book. I'm trying to finish this book soon, so I need to pick it back up so I can finish the book. But it wasn't like, ooh, I can't go another minute without knowing what happens next. But while I was reading the story, it was a really well done story. There's so many moving parts, sort of, and the fact that like the amount of time this travels is astounding for it to be such a tiny little book. It was just so nuanced. I think it was very timely in like what is going on in today's world. It sort of felt like it was a predictor. It was predicting the future in a way, and you could see how the world could end up in a way like this, which is like how the world is now. Especially, the book is broken up into, I think, 5 sections, and the sections are, I think it's the near future, the future, the distant future, the very distant future, and eternity. Those first 3 sections, you could really see like, wow, I can see how our world could go there. Like, I can see how this could become our world. So it was just very like worrying, but also I was just like, wow, this is so predictive. It reminds me of, there's this essay by Octavia Butler called A Few Ways for Predicting the Future, I think it's called. And she just writes about like how in her story she's able to write these books that feels like they predicted the future. And she talks about how she really just looks around at what's happening in her world and try to think what this world as what's happening now in it would look like 20 years from now. And oftentimes she's spot on. And it sort of felt like this book was doing a similar thing. It was looking at our world now, or I think this book came out in 2024. It was looking at what's happening, I guess, while he was writing it, which, you know, it could have been a couple years leading up to 2024, and really seeing what will this look like for our world. And it sort of feels like, you know, he got it, you know? It sort of feels like he's on to something here. But there is a part of that essay that Octavia Butler wrote where she says, expect surprises, because even though we can look at what's around us and predict what might happen, there's always a room for surprise, right? That could change how the course of something we think will go. So for her, in that essay, she talks about how, you know, she was growing up when it was the Cold War, and no one could have predicted that it would have ended in a way that was like, you might say, peaceful, and for it to end in a way where it was all this tension about like, will there be nuclear war, for it not to end that way, and to end the way it did, like, it was so unexpected. So there's always room for unexpected, and I feel like in that that's where hope lies. The hope lies, and what that one thing we can't predict that might change how things turn out, so they don't turn out exactly as disastrous as what our predicting of the future based on our current circumstances might make. Hope that made sense. But anyways, yeah, it was just really good. It was really beautiful, and I think this book had a lot to say about love and language, and music, and all that I was saying about those things felt very powerful and moving. So I definitely would recommend picking this up. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4-star. So yeah, that's it for this. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for coming along while I don't want to say I struggled, but getting through some of these books that are on my 25 for 2025 felt, I won't say impossible, but it was starting to look a little grim if I was going to complete that test. So I'm happy I was able to get some of those read. I am deep into the edits of my book. I just an hour or so ago got off the Zoom call with my editor, so my mind is literally spinning. My mind is spinning with like all the work I need to do and the edits I need to make. So that is what I'm going to be doing for the foreseeable future. But anyways, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!